Welcome to the Marvel vs. DC Comics Show, hosted by yours truly, Mike Spider Slayer. Guys, welcome back to Comic Book Corner 2.0. I'm your host, Mike Spider Slayer, always helping you make decisions on what comic books to buy and bringing you daily comic book content. So if you guys have been watching for a while and you haven't hit that subscribe button yet, what are you waiting for? Go ahead and do so now. Yes, this is the show where I pit Marvel Comics against DC Comics, and we see which company reigns supreme week after week. And by the time we get to the end of the year, we will have a tally. Which comic book company is better? Is it Marvel? Is it DC? Of course, at the end of the day, it's all opinionated, but this is just for fun. After week one, there was very few comics to talk about, and I only had one Marvel book versus DC book, but after that first week, DC is up. One love. So, with that being said, let's get started with week two. As a reminder, these books did come out January 15, 2025, and the first books we're talking about today is Laura Kinney Wolverine, issue 2, versus Batman and Robin, year 1. This is issue 4. Laura Kinney Wolverine issue 2 will be the first one we talk about today. The legacy numbering here is 70. It's 32 pages for the price of $4. This one is written by Erica Schultz, and the art is done by Gladia Belvizio. Now, the reason why I put these two comic books against each other was because, well, when it came to Laura Kinney Wolverine this week, it's more like a team-up book than an actual individual series, because she teams up with Elektra in the comic book. Now, here is the artwork in the series so far. I'm not gonna lie, the artwork actually looks really good. The colors are really vibrant. The action scenes are awesome. The facial expressions are really good when it comes to Laura Kinney, and just the paneling is good. So when you see these two characters, fight, it's kind of like the best thing about it. And then also when they're just like not in their regular costumes and in just regular street clothes, they kind of look good too. So the book looks good, but let's talk about the story itself here. Laura is just in this thing about right now rescuing mutants, and with people treating mutants bad, she's getting super pissed off. What I've noticed about this comic book is that, or this series so far that Erica Schultz is writing, is that Laura is just like really over the edge. And in previous series, I have not seen her so angry as she is angry in this series. Like, the littlest things are pushing her over, and really Elektra is keeping her in line. And without Elektra in this book, I don't know if she would completely lose her shit. Now, they're trying to save this mutant that blows himself up, and there's this rally that's going on, and he's been held hostage, and you wind up seeing Laura and Elektra go to Mayor Cage and warn him of this situation. He's like, nah, we're good. We got our security on it. And if you show yourselves, you're just going to make things worse. And so we're just going to go on with the event. I don't know, man. I don't think I actually agreed with that whole situation. I would think that Luke Cage would do the safer thing and not put people's lives at risk. So, yeah. And then at the end, obviously, you see what happens there. Okay? So, it wasn't good. All right, the next book is Batman and Robin, year 1, issue 4, 28 pages, $4. It's written by Mark Waid, and the art here is done by Chris Samney. Now, you guys heard me talk a lot about Chris Samney's artwork. It's really well done in this comic because this is a year 1 story, and just the way the characters are drawn kind of gives you that vibe that it is an earlier story. Even the color tone gives you that vibe again, that it seems like it takes place in a simpler time. And what I really like about this comic is it really dives deep and explores those relationships between Dick and Bruce here. And we wind up getting the children's services making their appearances and making sure that Bruce is taking care of Dick the right way. And it's just really a lot of fun, kind of like the charade that they have to go through in order to to win this social worker over. I think it's great. And then you wind up getting the continuation of the story when it comes to like the mob bosses and everybody else that's in this comic book. And so it's really good. I mean, I really enjoyed it. And for me, if I had to compare the two books, well, at the end of the day, Laura Kinney Wolverine gets a C+, and Batman and Robin Year 1 Issue 4 gets a B+. I just feel like that the writing by Mark Waid is much better. I think the overall plot is much stronger. I just want to see something a little bit more from Laura Kinney besides her just being so angry all the time. Am I going to drop Laura Kinney Wolverine? I don't think so. It's okay. I don't know. I feel like she's written just a little bit too angry. The Incredible Hulk, issue 21, takes on New Gods, issue 2. So we're kicking it off with The Incredible Hulk, issue 21, legacy numbering 802, 32 pages for the price of $4. This book is written by Philip Kennedy Johnson, and the art is done by Danny Earls. When Nick Klein does the artwork is absolutely spectacular. But it just seems like Danny Earls does more and more of the artwork these days. And this book is full of action in this issue where we get to see this battle between, I guess, the character by the name of Charlie and Werewolf by Night and all these like other werewolves or lichens or whatever it is. And this issue is filled with absolute action. And I wish that Nick Klein did the artwork in this particular issue, because I would think it would really stand out in this battle. But I just felt like it was a little bit lackluster in the detail, and then in his story itself, I just feel like it's completely lost its way. Like, I used to really dig the Charlie character and want to kind of know more about her backstory, and then obviously she wanted to become like a whole character like Bruce, and now it's like ever since now she's changed, I find myself going, okay, well, now that she became the monster, like, why do I care about this story anymore? Like, it just, I don't know, it just feels like, it's like, who cares? And maybe that's just a me thing, but there's nothing here hooking me going forward here. I think I've just gotten bored with this story, and that's very much unfortunate, because when this first came out, I was hooked. I was hooked on the persona of Banner and Hulk and getting along with Charlie and finding out, in this quest and finding this elder, and it just feels like the payoff was not very good, and now I'm just like, who cares? All right. So now the next book we're talking about is New Gods. This is issue 2, and this one is 28 pages for the price of $4. It's written by Ram V, and the art is done by Ivan Kagel. I didn't pick it up at my shop because I totally forgot about it, and so I read this book actually digitally. Now, the first issue wound up... It was a little hard to understand because I think there's a lot of lore when it comes to the New Gods, and there's different characters, and it was really a lot of like in-depth stuff in the beginning, but you wind up getting to learn about Big Barda, and you wind up seeing Mr. Miracle. They have this kid with each other. They're kind of at peace, and then all of a sudden we have Orion that goes to Mr. Miracle saying, you gotta find this child and you have to kill it because it has godlike powers, and we don't know what's going to happen in the future if you don't take care of it. And then Mr. Miracle here now is stuck between a rock and a hard place because he has to go on this mission that he doesn't really want to do. And with him having his own child, he's again at this crossroads, but he decides in this issue that he's going to do this mission. He writes this note to Big Barda. It's very heartfelt, and he's a family man, so it is definitely a struggle for him. Then we wind up getting to see this other character. I think he's like a scavenger character that looks like is taking on Apocalypse, and we wind up seeing this other guy that wants to get this child as well, that was reborn, that was in a coma, that I think that was resurrected or saved by Metron. There's just a lot of stuff going on, but I like it. I like where it's going. I like this issue better There's a lot involved. I think you just gotta give it time to breathe and time to grow a little bit, and you might catch on. So, at the end of the day, I gotta give the Incredible Hulk a D, and I gotta give the New Gods a B+. It really was a solid book. It's just a lot to kind of comprehend if you're a newer reader. Now, if you're a reader of these characters, you might be, hey, I get everything that's going on. So I want to hear your comments below. Do you agree with me on the grade of Hulk, or do you agree with me more on New Gods? Miles Morales Spider-Man 29 takes on Titans issue 19. So we're talking about Miles Morales Spider-Man 29 first, legacy numbering 311, 32 pages for the price of $4. It's written by Cody Ziegler, and the art is done by Daniel D. Niculio. When it comes to the artwork in this comic, it looks really good. I do like the characters. I do like the facial expressions in here. I think it's a different artist than what we were getting in the past, but still, it looks nice. Great action, and we get to see the continuation here of Miles Morales battling this vampirism. He's been going through these trials and tribulations throughout the entire story arc here, and it's quite interesting on how he wins this battle and how he has this god by his side going forward. So I thought that was a really cool ending, and it sets up things to come for the character. I can't wait to see what Cody Ziegler does with it. I think the character's named by Anansi. He's like this spider god-like type of character, so I thought that was pretty cool. But the big thing about this comic, what gave it a lot of heart, was the Shift character. He is the clone of Miles Morales Spider-Man here, and what happens is we really get him in like official family member of the Miles Morales group. Okay, it's Rio Morales just welcomes him and says, you're part of this family, don't ever feel that you're not. And I just thought that was, again, a really heart and family felt moment. Now, the next book we're talking about is Titans, issue 19. So I've been kind of like on the fence about this book because it's very like, oh yeah, here's our enemy of the week. This is who we're going to fight. And then we got Deathstroke behind the curtain there, and one day he's gonna pop out. And you still kind of get this in this issue here, but it kind of fleshes out the story a little bit, and this does improve the series, and probably my favorite issue so far, because we have Killer Frost, and she feels like that she's part of the, she's got invited to be Justice League Unlimited, but of course things don't work out for her the way she wants, or Justice League card doesn't work, and she's upset, and you wind up seeing the Titans battle them. And the big kicker of this thing is that the Titans claim that, yeah, we're part of the Justice League Unlimited, but then when they defeat Killer Frost, it's just like Batman kind of like blows them off and says, we'll take it from here, and they don't get the respect that they deserve, right? Now, we have seen this before. I feel like the Titans are kind of like, they're still kept in the minor leagues, right? I don't think that's an original story, but still, this particular issue was good. It had solid artwork, and I enjoyed it. However, at the end of the day, Miles Morales Spider-Man gets the victory on this one. I gave it a B+, while Titans got the B-. It's still very cookie cutter type of storytelling, but at least now it added a little bit more depth to it. The Amazing Spider-Man battles Nightwing. The first book we're talking about is The Amazing Spider-Man, issue 65, Point Des. 32 pages for the price of $4. This one is written by Derek Landy, and the art is done by Kev Walker. So when it comes to The Amazing Spider-Man, I've seen better artwork when it comes to it, but it's not half bad either. You don't get a lot of Spider-Man. I don't remember if you get any Spider-Man in this comic book. To me, it wasn't a very memorable issue. Oh, you do get this nice little 2-page spread. But this issue is like a filler issue. If you guys don't know what point issues are, Marvel introduced them a while back, like where it takes place in between story arcs. So basically, it's a filler issue. That's basically what this is, because if you read issue 65, you saw that the weight of death is on Peter Parker's shoulders, and he's basically quitting this task that's been given to him by Doctor Doom. And the Sorcerer Supreme, well, not the Sorcerer Supreme, but Doctor Strange is the one that's kind of helping him guide through everything. He's like, screw this, I'm not going to do this anymore. If people are going to die, they're going to die. And no one cares about them once they die. People are forgetful, you know? And then so now we wind up seeing Phil Coulson be the person of reason here, trying to talk Peter back into doing his task once again, and you kind of get to learn like why Coulson is like deaf now and what he's experienced as a kid and all these other things. But I really did feel like this book was kind of not necessary. So if you do skip this book, dude, it's totally okay. So now we're going to talk about Nightwing issue 122. The legacy numbering here is 309. 28 pages for the price of $5. This is a first appearance of a character by the name of Columbina. I think that's how you say her name. It's written by Dan Waters, and the art is done by Dexter Stoy. I feel like this book is kind of growing on me a little bit more. I wasn't sure about the first issue. The second issue was much better. This issue was decent for me, but I don't think it was like the best issue. Just because it was kind of like a flashback issue, getting introduced to this new character here and kind of like where she comes from. And obviously, she came from the time when Dick was Robin, okay? And we got to see her do this confrontation back of the day. So this is obviously a new character for us, but this is an old adversary for Dick Grayson. And he believes that this character is the person, I think, that's in charge of this weapons manufacturer or the spherical place or whatnot, and he's trying to convince everybody that this person is bad, she's not good, I know who she is, and he's trying to give them evidence and whatnot. So there's not a lot of action in this issue, but it does give you decent background of the new character. So at the end of the day, when it comes to the grades of this book, the Amazing Spider-Man gets a C, while Nightwing gets a B. So now it's time for the speed round, and there's only a couple of books that are in the speed round this week, and the first one is Storm. This is issue 4. Now, I wanted to check this one out because it's one of the first books that surrounds itself around Doctor Doom, and I wanted to see why Storm is involved with Doctor Doom to begin with. So what happens is Doom calls her to his castle, and he wants her to be the ambassador of the mutants during this whole reign, right? And then he realizes that, like, she doesn't have mutant powers. Doom, like, doesn't like the chef pastry chef that is cooking food, and he's going to kill her. And then all of a sudden, Storm is, like, trying to use mutant powers. But in the comic book, she doesn't have her powers, and if she uses her powers, she's going to die because she made this deal to not have powers for 7 days, or she's going to stay dead forever based off of stuff that happened in previous issues. And at the end, she's become something much more like an eternal character, something immortal, something quite different. What I did like about the book is that she met with her father from the past. It was a very heartfelt moment. I liked the issue. I thought it was good. Maybe because of this issue, I might continue it. Will I like what she becomes going forward? I don't know. But for right now, this might warrant a second read for me. The next book we're talking about is A Friendly Neighborhood Spider-Man issue 2. I liked issue 1. It was decent. Issue 2 made me not want to continue this book anymore. And I felt like it's a kid-friendly book, which there's nothing wrong with that, but it makes me believe that maybe the show is going to be more for a younger audience as well, as we get to see Peter and Nico go to the new high school that they're going to. We get to see Peter kind of experiment with him with his new spider powers and wrestling Crusher Hogan again, and wind up using tanks for his web shooters and dealing battle against the enforcers, and just stuff that we've already seen from the character. It just wasn't providing anything new for me as a longtime reader, just maybe a little bit of a different twist. But I feel like this is for younger audiences that has not read anything that had to do with Spider-Man in the past. So I think I'm probably going to be dropping this book going forward. So after 2 weeks of competition, DC leads 5-1. But hey, at least Marvel finally got on the board after 2 weeks. We'll see what happens as the year continues. Hopefully you guys are digging this new series, still working out the kinks and fine-tuning it. I'm sure it'll get better as time goes along. And if you guys love the series, let me know in the comments below. Of course, it's just for fun, you know, having a contest against these two companies. If you guys love my other content, there's always more for you to click on. Hopefully there's something for you on this channel. Guys, remember, support the local comic shops. Keep buying, keep collecting, but always remember, read your comics so we can have great comic conversation. Guys, I'll see you real soon. Take care. Bye.